Let's do something together. Let's take a campaign apart, bit by bit. Remember, campaigners, you put it out there to find, deal with it. Well, here we go again. Another ring. A ring that is irresistible because it supposedly controls so many aspects, so many other electronic devices in your life, and lets you do all kinds of things wondrously, as if you were a wizard with magical powers. Take a look at this video and follow along.
Hello.
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 Remind me to pick up Alex 9.
Slideshow mode.
Okay, here's the thing to remember. This is early days for a campaign like this because they've only got 34 more days to go, and they've already picked up about $5,431 of a $30,000 goal. That's not too bad, and they could conceivably make it to that $30,000. But let's look a lot under the hood, okay? Because by looking under the hood, you might see some things that make you go, what the hell? Let's start with the very first overview statement. Aina is the easiest and the fastest way to control almost everything without the need to take your phone out. Aina is a premium AI-powered smart ring that connects to your phone via Bluetooth and becomes a personalized remote for controlling smart home devices, booking cabs, and unlocking devices effortlessly. It's an easier way to take phone calls and talk with voice assistants privately, placing your fingertips near your ear and get talking. It's also a subtle fitness tracker and a beautiful timepiece that sits on your finger. And you can see those two beautiful CGI renderings below of what this ring is supposed to look like. It's nonsense as far as I'm concerned because you're trying to fit all of those things into a ring. How many Kickstarter, Indiegogo, whatever other crowdfunding platform you've gone to have had rings over the last few years that all claim the same thing and all have fallen short and either never delivered, were never intended to deliver, or whenever they did deliver, the product was so far from what they were claiming it could do that people were wanting to just simply put them on a shelf and hope that no one ever notices that they had them. Of course, if you're going to get this marvel of the age, it's got to look good. So they're going to have a gold-plated, a platinum-plated, and a rose gold-plated type of ring out there, so that you can have something that every few years you'll have to replate, but it'll look good in the meantime, right? Of course, if that doesn't do it for you, they've got these different textures, ranging from a rhodium-plated gloss black, a matte gray that's been anodized, and another anodized matte black. Gosh, the thing is going to look good on your finger, especially if it's just going to sit there and, well, probably not work anywhere near like they showed you in the pitch video, right? But here's the part that's really interesting. There are basically only 4 directions that you can swipe this particular ring. And they show you here in this illustration: up, down, left, right. Those are the 4 basic things that allow you to control every single thing that they want you to. Whether it's the lights, your telephone, anything that it's connected to by Bluetooth. But let me ask you a question. You don't have a display telling you what menu you're looking at. So are you going to have to memorize a whole lot of menus and know which one you're on just to be able to get this ring to work? Remember, you could be trying to make a phone call, but currently the ring is set to turn on and off your lights, right? So what happens if you forgot? Now you've got to remember how to get from the menu for turning the lights on and off to your telephone, or calling a cab, or any of the other things they're claiming it should be able to control. Even if it did what they said it was going to do, you're going to have a mess on your hand. And wouldn't you find it easier and better to simply take your bloody phone out and use it to summon the cab and do the other things? Because then you would have a menu in front of you telling you what you're trying to control. Now remember, they're packing all of this into a ring. The AI UI, the Artificial Intelligent User Interface. The near field directional sound, the sound ID. Modes, where you say a voice command and activate specific Aina modes. Fitness tracking and time and notification, and all of those little subroutines that you see for each one. It's all being packed into a ring. And I hope there's a lot of memory in that ring, because later on they're also going to promise that you can continue to add features to this for control. Yeah, and it's all going to be crowdfunded. Isn't that lovely? And once again, here we see one of the biggest new words for the last year or so in crowdfunding: artificial intelligence, AI, or in this case, the AI UI, the Artificially Intelligent User Interface, which is supposed to be an AI remote for your smartphone. Now, I'm not an expert. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have an entire comment section after this video where you can show me how wrong I am, as long as you explain it in detail that we can look up and find out from. But I just don't think that they're going to be able to pack all those AI features, components, whatever you want to call it, algorithms, into a smartphone app that can then Bluetooth its way into a ring, which would allow you to communicate then back to the app on your smartphone and then make things happen. I just find it so incredibly hard to believe, especially that they're going to be able to do this in a crowdfunding atmosphere. And once again, you'll see here that they reiterate the same things: control your smart home devices, book cabs, unlock cars. Oh, that's going to be interesting. And then unlock devices using Bluetooth. I guess proximity does mean something with Bluetooth users. But again, all of that in a ring that then communicate? Well, let's go on. This part I find particularly fascinating. Aina knows when you typically book cabs to office, and it will show the shortcut to book an Uber to office just before you need it. So obviously, what they've done is created a software application that has developed mental telepathy, because how else could it know that you need a cab booked to the office before you do? And it knows whether or not, I guess, you've changed your mind about that, or any one of 1,000 things that would say, book the cab early, book the cab late, don't book it at all. What an application. And that telepathy seems to extend to the fact that Aina knows when it is time to sleep, and based on your usage of your home lights, it will show the shortcut to switch off the room lights as soon as you go to sleep. If you're asleep, of course, so I have no idea how you're supposed to know how to turn off the lights, but apparently the magic ring and the incredible UI app do. This is just getting more and more into science fiction realm. And of course, what crowdfunding effort would not be complete without a patent pending? In this case, our patent pending near-field directional sound technology projects sound in a focused beam towards your ear from Aina when you place your fingertips near your ear. Isn't that just plain amazing? Now, don't get me wrong. This technology is out there. The question in my mind is, how well does it work? And, well, does it ever work? Remember, this is crowdfunding, which means that at best, they have some kind of a prototype that they used to claim to Kickstarter that they could produce this. That didn't mean that they could produce it or that they will produce it, just that they might be able to produce it. But let's move on. Now, something that would probably take away my argument about having menus that can be seen is the fact that they're saying that they're going to have voice commands to enter into specific modes to control individual devices or services. Third parties will soon be able to make their own modes for Aina. Well, that's interesting, because I wonder if those third parties are even aware of this crowdfunding campaign. Remember, this has not been produced yet. But there's the thing that really should give you pause when you think about that. Right here. A few modes that are going to be part of the first version of Aina are a slideshow mode, a smart light mode, music mode, and TV remote mode. In other words, these aren't necessarily already there or developed. They're going to be part of the first version of Aina. They haven't been produced yet. And if you look at the instructions with this illustration, swipe down 3 times in 2 seconds from any screen and SOS mode gets activated. Your location coordinates are sent to your loved ones, and if you are subscribed to a security service, the estimated time for arrival of help will be displayed to you. Isn't it good to know that even in a panic, life-threatening, or scary situation, you'll have the presence of mind to know to stroke down 3 times in 2 seconds to activate that? Yeah, that's what I thought too. And this marvel of the age doesn't stop with what we've seen before. It also has Sound ID for POS payments, P2P payments, and access cards, all of which will only work if that particular service accepts sound-based authentication. Again, I'm no expert. Maybe you know more than I do and you can tell me about it, but I don't know of too many, or really, I don't know of any sound-based authentications. And it strikes me that sound-based authentication could easily be hacked with the right equipment though, right? And that's not all. We've got fitness tracking here too, don't we? Step counting and calorie tracking, all through that little ring that you see on his finger. Yeah, there were several rings that were crowdfunded over the last few years, one of which is notorious, called BioRing. They were supposed to do that as well, and they never delivered. It was a total scam. I'm not saying necessarily that this one is, but again, remember, they fit all of the electronics, like an accelerometer and so forth, into that little bitty housing. And what would this crowdfunding effort be without an SDK for developers? SDK, for those not in the know, I believe stands for Software Development Kit. In other words, this is the thing that third-party developers are going to need, as they say, in a few months, so you can integrate Aina with your applications and devices. If you are an Android or iOS developer and want to get early access to the SDK, you can pre-order Aina Developer Kit or email us at, and then they give their address. I would not be holding my breath for the developers to come rushing to the door until this thing is on the market and shown to actually be working. Then, and only then, do I see anybody trying to develop anything that might integrate with it. Now, in case anyone out there is thinking I'm taking these people to task unnecessarily, or I'm throwing shade or being a dick, here are the technical specifications given for this marvelous piece of machinery that they themselves are promoting on their Kickstarter crowdfunding page. Starting with the face dimensions of 26 millimeters by 17 millimeters by 6.5 millimeters. That is where all of the PCB, the various kinds of electronic devices that you're going to need and so forth, have to fit. Qualcomm SoC with dual mode Bluetooth 5.0, dual noise canceling microphones. In other words, within that 26 millimeter by 17 millimeters by 6.5 millimeters, they're going to have two noise canceling microphones. I say that because dual to me always means two. And of course, it's going to be compatible with iOS and Android. There's the battery. And of course, the 6-axis motion sensor. NFDS speaker unit, well, that's for the speaker connectivity so that it can speak to those POS things and so forth, if in fact they accept that. OLED edge display, in other words, on the very edge of the ring is where your display is. A vibration module, that's supposed to be to alert you to things like appointments or things that you've set up to let you know that it's time to do things like have a meeting or go to bed or eat chocolate, I guess. And then, of course, the 5-volt charging dock, because you are going to need power to make this thing work, and I just hope that there's enough power to carry you through the day. And at the same time, it's also water resistant. It's splash proof. The final IP rating beyond IPX7 will be confirmed. It hasn't yet, of course, only after the first production run. So let's hope it will be confirmed at that time, assuming that there actually is a first production run. And then, of course, you're going to be sent the sizing chart so that they can start shipping the rings in the right size. And let's hope that your size doesn't change for any reason whatsoever prior to it finally shipping to you. Ring sizes change. I know this. I lived it. I had to resize rings 2 or 3 times for people that both gained and lost tremendous amounts of weight. But I'm sure that with all of the wonderful things that are happening with this ring, that's not going to be a problem. Now, according to the campaigners, this is the current prototype. It's currently, as of June, I assume it's June of 2019, 1.2 times bigger the final size of Aina, or Aina, whatever the heck it is. The thing that's interesting is that they're now saying at this point, when they finally get around to making this incredible device, it's going to be even smaller. All of those components that they're going to need to fit into that ring will also have to be smaller. That's assuming that they're even in this prototype that we're looking at right now. Amazing. Now, here is a demo of a prototype. Let's listen in.
You hear the sound?
Yeah, music.
You can hear the sound?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Goddamn, it's damn clear. I didn't expect it to be this clear.
So you can place your hand like that, just like this,
And I can hear music
and
now.
you can hear music. You should be able to hear some sound now.
Is that wow. Washed, this is good. If you haven't already ground, there is a
Good for exams.
Hear something. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Is it coming?
Yeah.
Now it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Holy shit, that's really cool, man.
That's how this works.
And here we see smart home control. Let's take a look.
So now we'll show you how we control a few smart home devices through Aina. We'll start with the smart lights. We swipe down to find room lights. Swipe up. And the lights turn on. Now we turn off the lights. So now we'll start the coffee machine. Go to switch, swipe up. And coffee machine starts going coffee. We'll stop it for now. Now we will make a call to the credit contact on Aina. Yeah. Swipe up. And the call is made. So Jay is my credit contact at this point of time. I'll cut the call for now.
Wasn't that amazing? The thing that really interested me was the lag between him issuing the command through that ring and something happening in front of us. Almost as if someone that might have been out of camera's range was making it happen, but might have been a little slow on the trigger. But then I'm just a suspicious sort, aren't I? So who are these geniuses that have come up with this ring? Well, Aina is made by the Lazy Company, a very appropriately named one as far as I'm concerned, a young consumer electronics startup with offices in Bangalore, which is in India, and Delaware. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to question that Delaware office because I would like to see them come up with an address that anybody can visit and come in and talk to any member of their team for one simple reason. Delaware is one of 3 main states in the U.S. that companies go to file incorporation paperwork for tax reasons. What makes you think that that is not what is being done here? In order to make the company appear more legit and have a U.S. presence. If you look at the very first page of this crowdfunder, they make much of that Delaware, but you don't see the word Bangalore anywhere. Well, that's all I'm going to say. You can look at more of this campaign and you can come to your own conclusions. For myself, I would say stay away. Like so many technologically advanced items, they are not asking for enough money to make this happen. It just doesn't make any sense. And I'll be one of the first ones to tell you that you probably should stay away, far away. until such time as this thing hits the market and you can read reviews and see what people say that actually bought one. Crowdfunding for something like this is definitely not the place to go, but as always, it is your money. Spend it wisely. This has been Crowdfunding Hell, which as of this video is 58 subscribers away from our magic goal of 1,000. Encourage everyone you know. Encourage people on the street, total strangers that you can accost wherever you are, to subscribe to this channel and view our videos. Each time they do that, I get to punch a scammer in the face. True story.